guys, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of the vlog. My name is Ndero Ganga. This is Diaspora Stories, aka Diaspora Diaries, where we bring you stories of people who have lived abroad and they're trying to relocate and make a life of their own choosing on their own terms in Ghana. Today we have a beautiful guest who I met through a mutual friend, and we began talking, and we've been talking since then. Darling, welcome to the channel.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself.
So my name is Niadi. I go by Mighty Intellectual on YouTube. I am African American, was born and raised in North Carolina in the States. And I have been in Ghana now for over 2 months.
Over 2 months?
Yes,
so like,
over 2 months.
You came for December and then you said, I'm gonna stay?
No, I actually came to Ghana November 1st.
Oh.
Yes. And the plan was to do an extended stay. That's what I've been doing in preparation for like moving to Ghana and building the life of my dreams. So yeah, the plan is to go back February 1st, and
yeah. Okay, so take us back. Are you of Ghanaian descent, or how did your journey or your knowing of Ghana come about?
Yes, so I am I don't have any direct connection to Ghana, but I did take my African ancestry test, and I was like percentage Ghanaian.
Okay.
But it was actually mostly Nigerian.
Okay.
And then the second one was Ghanaian and then Cameroonian. Okay. But I actually have no connection to Ghana outside of the fact that I love the country.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend in 2019 who introduced me to the idea of Ghana, but I actually didn't have the funds to come because he was trying to come during December. And y'all know, like, if you don't have your ticket by a certain time, things are really expensive.
Ooh, yes.
During that time. And so that's when I started thinking about it. And then the trip for me didn't manifest because of one thing or another until June of 2021. And yeah, I planned a month-long solo trip. I had a tour guide for the first 2 weeks of my trip, and I just went to different regions of Ghana.
Mm-hmm. Take me back to June 2021. How did it feel, first of all, knowing that you'll be able to afford like saving and packing up before we get to getting here?
Well, there were a mix of emotions. I knew because I'd been watching so many YouTube videos of like African Americans who had moved over here, who were living here, and all I kept hearing was peace, peace, peace. And then I would see like people hawking on the streets, I would see the markets, things like that. So I kind of fell in love through the videos, and I was like, I want to see if this is something I could actually do, like the living here and the staying for a longer period, because I want what they got. They stand there at peace. I want to feel this too. So that's why I ended up planning the month-long trip. But as I was prepping for it, I was like, because one of the most expensive things for me was a tour guide. And I was like, am I wasting my money? Because I end up actually, because he was with me for 2 weeks, I end up paying him like $1,400. That's just me being transparent with y'all. For the 2 weeks, like, he was there every hour of the day, the whole 2 weeks, because I wanted to make sure the experience was what I wanted. And then of course I had to pay for my flight and everything. So I was just like, girl, is this worth it? This is a lot of money. Like, yeah. I would call my friends and go back and forth about that. But I just went ahead and went for it. I was like, for me, I'm the type of person who, I believe in sacrificing for my dreams, and I have crazy faith. People might look at me and be like, girl, what are you doing? Where is it going? It's not making sense. But for me, I do have like crazy faith in the path that God has for me. So I just went for it, and I didn't regret it when I came back. Mm-hmm. I was like, it was worth every penny.
Okay, so take us back to landing in Ghana for the first time. How did it feel like? What was it like? What was the experience like just touching down, and how was it different from what you'd seen and heard in America?
Touching down for the first time, like I said, I was already watching the videos on YouTube, so I was already in love with Ghana, so I was expecting, for it to be a great experience. But for the most part, I was just in awe. I was like, I can't believe I'm here. And this was actually my second time in Africa. I went to South Africa first, but like the feeling for me wasn't the same in South Africa. But yeah, I just felt in awe that I was here.
What are some of the things that left you in, or what are some of the things that mesmerized you?
For me, it was the people carrying, and this might sound so silly, it was the people carrying the things on their head. It just felt like I was in touch with, like, I don't want to say authentic, because I was just in touch with, like, the original African culture that I feel like has been stripped away from me and my family and my, everyone that I know that's a Black person. It just felt like I was coming back to claim what was mine, that was stolen from me. Like, I was making a decision to come back. I felt like before everything else was like, it wasn't my choice to come to America, you know what I mean? So now I was making a choice to come back. And I don't know, y'all, I was just in awe that I was there, and that I was able to actually get the money together to be able to go. Because my actual story growing up, I didn't grow up with money. That's not my story. So the fact that I was able to get to that place where I could have the money to come by myself for a month, that was... Yeah, that was amazing.
And when we were talking earlier, you said, like, all the people that had relocated to Ghana, they said they felt a sense of peace. I want you to sort of put it into context for us. How is it in America for Black people that it pushes them to a place where they say, I'm done, I'm just looking for a sense of peace? How is it back there?
There are a couple things. So in America, there is this culture of work, work, work. So we were talking about earlier, like the rat race, like you get the better job, then a better car, then you got to keep paying these bills, and you're going to work to pay bills, paying bills to go to work, and you do it all again, and you do it all again. So I think that people, especially African Americans, are in search of just peace, like just being still. So that's one thing. And then of course, like racism and being made to feel like you're other. I know for me, like I went to a predominantly white college, and that was one of the most difficult experiences for me. That's one of the times in my life where I felt the most other. And you feel that way because of the way you talk, and a bunch of different other things. You just feel like you aren't enough in America as a Black person, and I'm sure that's why a lot of them chose to come to Ghana.
And when you came to Ghana, you took a trip to the Cape Coast in pursuit of sort of retracing your footsteps and the ancestry. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, Cape Coast is very beautiful. Cape Coast is very beautiful, but it was very heavy for me. We are not told a lot about Africa in school. But one thing they will do is they will tell you your ancestors were slaves, okay? But there's a difference, I believe, between hearing that in school or hearing that any place, and then like being there at the Cape Coast slave dungeon and being told the stories about how our ancestors were underneath in the dungeons, peeing on each other, having menstrual cycles, pooping, crying, all of the things. And then you have people on the top of the dungeon praising a god. How does that work? So that was really heavy for me, and I honestly think because of that, because I've been back to Cape Coast like twice since then, it's just heavy. Like I see it in my face, like I just look so tired when I go to Cape Coast, and I really feel like it's because of that. So it's not my favorite place to visit. Yeah.
And you sort of found that reconnection, but now I want to talk about how it generally felt being in Ghana. Do you think you felt that peace?
In Ghana, yes. Ask the question again.
Did you find the peace that everybody was talking about, or what did being in Ghana feel like for you? How does it feel?
Okay, yes, I definitely did feel peace, but y'all know with every great thing, there are also negative things. So coming to Ghana for me, it helped me become more confident in who I was. I definitely noticed that in myself when I went back to the States. And one of the things that I did find here that I didn't really have before I came was an entrepreneurial mind. Like I wanted to start a business when I came back. So when you come to Ghana, you see, like, because everyone has to, or most people have to, you gotta hustle, right? It's hard here, that's what a lot of people say. So they're gonna get it by any means. And you might not think you're going to buy something from a Ghanaian on the street, but they'll keep, they don't take no for an answer. So for me, I was like, well, if they could do that here, you know, where the city is a lot less than the US dollar, what am I doing back home? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So after I left Ghana, I actually ended up starting a business, and I really wanted to just do stuff surrounding business. I quit my job, a bunch of different things, y'all. I'm not saying do what I did, but that's just what I did.
Yes, this is your journey.
Yeah, exactly. And so I definitely did find a sense of peace here, but then there's also a sense of what word am I looking for? There were a range of emotions I felt, and I talk a lot about that on my channel. For those of you who are interested in moving here, it's not gonna be all peace. It's not gonna be all joy. There was one thing that definitely broke my heart when I came for the first time, which was seeing kids on the street who would come to the car and beg for money. And then I had this very terrible experience where I was like giving out candy to kids, and then I looked up, it was one child. Then it was two children, it was like 15, and then it was a group of them. So I handed the candy to them, and I had just got a fresh set, and one of the kids snatched the candy so hard it broke my nail to the white meat. Like, it was bleeding, like it was a thing, like no nail. And so that incident really had me like in the house and like feel that type of way for a few days, because I'm like, why does a child feel like they need to do that? You know what I mean? So you'll just see certain things that might not sit right with you, but you have to, I still think that the peace I feel here outweighs the negative things that happen.
And I think it's something that we both share. We say two things can coexist at the
Yes,
same time.
exactly.
Ghana can be everything and so much more that you dreamed of, but it has its own challenges.
Yeah.
What are some of these challenges and rude shocks that you experienced? Because you said you had watched a lot of videos coming in,
Yeah.
so you knew all the good things that you were supposed to expect. But what are those things that people do not talk about, that when you get here, there's such a smirk on your face and you're just like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, I love that you said two things can coexist, because that's so very true. And you can feel like a hypocrite, you can feel like a fraud, but no, y'all, we are literally human. Our nature is contradiction, and I think two things can coexist. So while I love Ghana, there are things I do want to see change. And some of the things that I see is like, of course, the customer service. Like, if you, let's say you order something, they give you the wrong thing, they still expect for you to pay for it, even though they gave you the wrong thing. Apartments, you just want to double, triple check the person that you're renting the apartment with, because you may think that you're getting one thing on the picture or online, but then you get to the place, it's a completely different thing. Your lights might be going out, your water might be going out. You might not like the what do you call it? The manager of the property that you're staying at. So just consider that. And then the other thing too, because somebody asked me on my channel about like long-term stays, I would never again book an apartment for 3 months at a time without like coming here, seeing it, knowing the property manager, all of the things. I instead would do like a hotel for a couple nights when I get here. Then let's go check out some places, and I get to meet the person, I get to see the place, and then I'll decide if I want to book like for a month at a time. I would never do 3 months at a time again.
What have been the highlights of this experience for you?
The highlight of my Ghana experience, let's see. I would say for me, one of my favorite experiences here was going to the north, the upper east and the north. I don't know why they call it north and upper east. It's the same thing, but Bogotanga, that was like really great for me. I went up there like a month ago, and I stayed for about 4 days, and I stayed in Palungu village, and the people were just kind. And I think in the north there's a different type of peace that you feel. It's just like a silence up there that I can't really explain. You have to experience yourself. But they do motorcycles. The women have their hijabs on, and they're like they're driving the motorcycles. Everyone is just free and just very kind. There was like a language barrier, but my friend, he was a translator, And even though there was a language barrier, I think you just understand love and you just understand connection. It was a great experience for
How
me.
about your naming ceremony?
Yeah, my naming ceremony, that was also a really great experience in Kumasi. For me, it was more so symbolic. Like I said before, I feel like a lot in life has been somebody else choosing. And so for me, coming to Ghana was me choosing something in my life, and the naming ceremony was like, okay, now I'm taking my name back, and my Asante name was Akuya Pena. So while I don't have like Ghanaian, any direct tie to Ghana, it was more symbolic for me.
I want us to also talk about the fact that while you guys, the diaspora community, are moving here, there are Ghanaians that are trying to go back the other side.
Yes.
And we've talked about this a lot off camera, and we say it's just a matter of perspective and privilege. Whatever you're looking for the other side is here, and whatever we're looking for here is on the other side. But people, just like moving to Ghana, the people going the other side do not necessarily know what's waiting for them the other side, because all they know is that the American dream has been sold to them. There's that. You've lived there, you know how Africans live there and they survive there. Just paint for us a picture.
Yeah, so I feel like, and I was telling her this earlier, like really honestly, anything you see or almost anything you see happen here happens to some degree in the States. I think you were talking about like African auntie who's older, you know, maybe got abused as a child, drinks a lot. There are a lot of African American aunties just like that in the States. And then not even just Africans as well, like African Americans too. We don't have the, so we come over here, y'all assume we have the money because we come from the States, which to a certain degree, because the city is less, sure. But you have to think too, like let's say me myself, I have busted my tail to save money to even be able to come over here. So when you raise the price on me and I'm not some millionaire, you know what I mean? It's very disheartening because I save money to come here. I don't have a lot of money, you know what I mean? So in the States, I think there's a misconception that Black people have the money. As a majority, I mean, there are like, you know, individuals, but as a majority, we have the least money in the States. And then when we're talking about like African immigrants, I stay in like the DMV area and a lot of them are up there. And what you will see is a bunch of them stay together in apartments. They're grinding and they're trying to save their money and make a way for themselves, but they're staying in like apartments that aren't well kept in the States, and they're working like low paying jobs and they're staying together so they could kind of build a life for themselves. And they're really, really hard on their kids about education. So I have a bunch of friends whose parents are like, you can't do arts, you're not about to do no YouTube, you're not about to do no, I don't know, do music. You're going to school, you're gonna be a doctor, lawyer, dentist. That's it. So when you talk about like mental health, I've seen like African friends who are like go through it because of that. In the States, their parents know what it's like to live here, so they're like, I came over here, I'm busting my tail, you owe it to me to do these things, even if they don't, you know, necessarily want to be a doctor, lawyer, dentist, those type of things.
Yeah, thank you very much for clarifying that for us, because you know sometimes when you guys come here, and it's something I used to say when I came, I didn't come with a suitcase full of money, so stop trying to get it from me because I don't have it.
Please.
My suitcase had clothes when I came.
Please.
It didn't come with money. And also the other thing is what you've just said, that it's not as rosy as we make it look like.
Right.
And even if people think I'll just work hard, it's not easy work. How many hours do those shifts last? And when you say low pay, how low is it?
At least 9. But honestly, some of like the African immigrants that I met, they work like 12 hours. Then you have like, let's say Uber, or they have like apps where you could deliver groceries. They're doing everything. And then it becomes, okay, this rat race again. I'm going to work all day to pay my bills, be able to feed my kids, but then I can't see my kids or my family, so I'm going back to work again. And it's like, is that really the life you want to live? You know what I mean? So
yeah, thank you. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And also whoever goes there, they get to know what they're getting themselves into. And also there's no shame, because when people know how hard it is the other side, when you go there and they say, I can't do this, you won't be afraid to come back home, because everybody's like, yeah, but this is what you wanted, but this is how it should be. Thank you very much for clarifying that.
Let me just add though too, but at the same time, I understand, you know, like if people are wanting to like go to the States for a financial purpose, I get it. I think I get it at least. Because there is opportunity if you are able to go to school, get a college degree, and like a technical college degree that leads you with the technical skill. There is opportunity, but a lot of people, and then there's also like welfare. You could get support from the government, things like that. So there are opportunities, and if you are comfortable with living like a very, very like low lifestyle for years and years until you're able to like get your money to that level, I mean, I get it. I feel like I get it.
Yeah. As we almost come to a close, there are people who are watching this video, they watch your channel, they're just like, wow, she was able to go to Ghana. I think I can do this. What advice, what are some of the top 5 things they need to know before they plan their trip?
Before you plan your trip, I would say you need to come with an open mindset for sure. Just like the positive, what do they say? Like there's always going to be an opposite. So there's going to be a lot of positive, but there's also going to be negative. 2, you need to make some sacrifices, right? So as I was prepping for this trip, there were some things that I just could not do. I was not going to get my nails done. I was not going to get my lashes done. I was doing my own hair, right? So you have to figure out what is the sacrifice going to be for you if you really, really want to make it happen. I would say get your multiple entry visa. Don't do the single entry, multiple entry, so you can it allows you to come here for the next 5 years without having to pay for another visa. I would say meet some people on the ground. A perfect way to do that is the African Americans in Ghana Facebook group. They are legit. You know, you can meet some dope people in that chat, so when you get here you aren't alone. Because I will say, if you come and it's literally just you haven't met anybody, it can be a little bit difficult and lonely. So definitely meet some people. And then what's another piece of advice I would give them? Oh, the whole part about the apartments. Don't book an apartment for a long term. Just do a hotel for a few nights, or even Airbnb. Do a hotel for a few nights, and then when you get here, go look at the Airbnb, go look at the apartment, and then you book it. Don't book it before you come, please, please, please. And that's what I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Where can people find you?
I am on YouTube at Mighty Intellectual. I'm also on Instagram at Mighty Intellectual. However, I might have to take a hiatus like you on the gram because I'm sick of it. I'm also on Instagram at Braffier Collections. That's my store, so definitely check it out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching this video. Remember to like, subscribe.